Today has been a real interesting day for Warcry. Not only did we get Horns of Hashut, we got all of the erratas from the last FAQ. We also got a whole bunch of new miniatures, but more importantly, we got something that no one even saw coming. We got a Warcry match play battle pack. Yes, this is something I've been asking for forever, so someone at Games Workshop is listening. Thank you, John. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at the battle pack. We're going to talk about what this means for our games of Warcry. We're going to go through it, and yeah, hopefully we'll have a good time about it. If you're watching this and you are one of the 30% of people who's managed to make it more than 30 seconds into my video, which means you actually care what it's about. So if you want to see more videos like this, there are a couple of things that you can do. You can give me a like, you can give me a subscribe, put a comment down in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video itself. And if you want to give me some more support, you can come and join me on Discord. You can join my Patreon. You can join me as a channel member right here on YouTube. But for those of you who are already watching, a big thank you for myself. And let's get back to the video. Now, I said we. It's not the royal we. It's not just me today. It's here. Today, I have our good friends, Wargames on Toast. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello. And we have Mr. Warcry UK, the most tournament man on earth. Our boy Demetrios. Hello, Phylax. How's it going?
Well, you said that this had to be fun. I have to be here, right?
You have to be here. You're a tournament guy, and this is literally a tournament pack. So
It is. I could cry. Honestly, it's nuts. 12 missions. It's really 6, but 12 missions, insane.
yeah.
So happy.
It's the first nudge we've really had that they're properly wanting to push Warcry in a more match place, like more of a competitive focus, right? Like
Totally. And it's good that they've what they've done for anyone who hasn't read it yet, go check it out. It's up on Warcon. Is they've taken all of the the disparate rules that they released for match play. So things like battle traits, things like divine blessings, all of this stuff that were in all sorts of different places, like in White Dwarf and in a random release number 4 of the last season. Put it all in one place, so now it's a resource that anyone can go and see. And then they've added a whole bunch of stuff to it. So there are, well, I say 6 new missions. There are 12 missions in there. 6 of them are kind of reworks and updates of the Ferocious Nullwood pack that we were playing at Warhammer World. They seem to have taken all of the feedback that we gave from that, pushed that back into the missions. So they've been redesigned slightly, which is very good. We got 6 new missions. We got updates to a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to jump straight into it. Mainly, we're going to talk about this from how this impacts the meta kind of thing and how it's going to impact different events. But let's go. Here it is. You can see it on screen. Warcry Match Play Battle Pack. So we'll start with the Divine Blessings. These have been updated. Divine Blessings were first released in, I think, White Dwarf 460. Maybe someone correct me on that.
The fact that you pulled that number out or nowhere is insane.
I believe you when you say 460.
It's 490. You're close.
Only 30.
Yeah.
Within 10%.
Yeah. No, I can see that. That's nuts.
Yeah, so what have they done? This is not a carbon copy of what they released in White Dwarf. They have updated the points.
Yeah, like it's largely the same, but they've targeted key, spammed almost blessings and put them back in line, shall we say.
Yeah. So we're talking about the regular points worth of wounds. That's gone up from 15 points to 20 points. So that now means that you can't just freely get more wounds on your cheap chaff. We're talking about the elite points value of +1 attack, the elite points value of +1 damage, which were
fairly also went up on the regular.
Yeah, no, it's on both.
Is it on both?
It's went up on regular and 10 on elite.
Sure.
Yeah, which is a good change because the problem was all of the stacking, making an already good fighter even better. So the fact that you were stacking +1 attacks on something that has strength 6 for 8 or strength 5 for 8, something that can maybe onslaught. It's a little teaser for later. Yeah, it basically could take a either favorite or hated fighter of the strength 10, 5, 10 and actually get him to do a shed load of damage. Yeah, so it's nice to see a little bit of a push to go, hey, this is here to make bad fighters better, not to make great fighters even better.
Yeah. I think as well with the +4 wounds blessings, there's been a little bit of I won't say like backlash. It's been a very small rumbling of complaint that a bunch of fighters that weren't good without the +4 wounds blessings are now bad even with it because they're too expensive. Top of my head for me, Prey Takers in Untamed Beasts were actually really solid at 115. They're unplayable at 100 and probably too expensive at 120.
Hmm.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, some things might not be as good anymore, but also the general murder ability of the game is going down, which is good because things were dying too quickly, right? It was like you touch something, you expected it to immediately die, and it's like, is that really what we want? Is that what Games Workshop want? Apparently not, because they've nerfed all the damage outputs. I think with Vexmore in particular, it was a really clean nerf to Vexmore, right? Because it increased his points by 10. Everyone's been saying that Vexmore should be 200, right? Which is a solid points level to be at, because you'd then be at the same points level as like an earlier Prime. They've got similar-ish rules and outputs. This does that without necessarily nerfing anything else. So it does that, sorry, whilst nerfing other things smoothly.
Yeah,
Right.
it
Yeah.
kills a lot of birds with one stone. So things like Gut Lords, right? Gut Lords you want to
Yeah.
put +1 attack on, so they suddenly become 10 points more expensive. Vexmore that we talked about, he becomes 10 points more expensive. Any of
Yeah.
these big guys that you would like a Fulmary Crusher, that becomes 10 points more expensive. For me, if I was a game designer and I was balancing this game, I would try and make the biggest impact with the smallest amount of change. So putting 10 points on the Elite's attack blessing allows you to affect a whole bunch of fighters that otherwise you would have to make 20 different changes on, right? And so I think that's a smart.
Yeah. I think as well. So brutality as a blessing for +1 damage is fairly. It's not as common as ferocity, right? People tend to take the attack of the damage. I prefer damage because I like big numbers. It's more fun for me. But it exists. People do take brutality on a whole bunch of things. If they just changed ferocity, because that's the main thing people take, nothing would have changed because everyone would just default to taking brutality on a lot of their stuff and achieved a similar output on most things. Not everything, like Vexmores and Gutlords, they would actually get worse by taking brutality over ferocity. But things like, I don't know, Nelita Primes probably exist on the same level of power, regardless. So nerfing them both stops that. It's like, nah, okay, we're just going to nerf them both equally, and now you can't have as much damage output no matter what you're doing. Or you've got to pay a lot more to get on the table.
But the thing that I like that this does, right, is Divine Blessings was ostensibly a way to fill out your points, right? And it ended up being a little bit of putty that we use to basically paper over cracks in war bands that need to do something and are not able to, and would make sure they have the points to get the buffs to do that. So it was always, for me, it's always been a little bit of a halfway house between a choose your own adventure, but also a bit of a, how best to put it, it's a workaround, right? It's a way to like make things viable that aren't. And the thing is, by making ferocity like really expensive, it doesn't kill Vexmore as a piece. Because Vexmore as a piece
The
by
thing that we're going to
itself,
talk about soon kills Vexmore as a piece.
but the thing
I don't
is,
think
It's
so.
fine. That's the whole point.
if you take it to gamble, if you like the original like experience and thought process of Vexmore as a piece that is there for area denial, and you pay fewer points because it's unreliable, and it's more about the actual projection and the actual threat than the actual bite. You can still do that without Vexmore being incredibly expensive. So yeah,
Yes, totally. Just to touch on that with the wounds blessing, right? Like, you may think, oh, there's not much of a difference between for the other 4 wounds. So why is it 20 points as opposed to 15 points? But when you actually look at it, there's a big difference between an 8 wound fighter and a 12 wound fighter, and a 10 wound fighter and a 14 wound fighter. The amount of attacks that it takes to take down those fighters goes up by like 1, which means they do stick around for longer. So people were using that, and they were using the wounds blessing to cheat survivability. and to keep their fighters around for way longer than they have any reason to be. Kind of in the same way that people were using the attack's blessing to cheat damage and get more damage for a smaller percentage of points increase than they would be normally. You can do the same thing with the Wounds Blessing. And we saw it. I wrote like a list once with like 6 Hunters of One Chief's Claws, all with the Wounds Blessing, because they go up to 14 wounds. And when you have 14 wounds, it's like a Vexmore doesn't reliably kill something with 14 wounds, for example. So he runs into it, swings, doesn't kill the One Chief's Claw, and then runs away with Slippery. Suddenly you get, and like for those 15 points that you're spending, you get so much more survivability. So that's why they did that to the wounds thing.
5 points doesn't seem like much, but the way it was being used was to spam it on 5, 6,
Multiples.
7 models
Yeah.
at a time.
Like 45,
that 5
50
points
point
multiplied by 6 is you've got to find 30 points. That's a lot of points to find.
Yeah.
Overall, you can see it. There's a definite trend to make things less killy and to make it so that if you want your chaff to stick around longer, you're going to have to pay for it. Because otherwise, you just get to the situation where you have less killy things, which means chaff will naturally stick around for longer anyway, because they are going to without attacks and whatnot. And that just pushes the game towards hordes of subway railroads, is what it pushes the game towards. Sticky chaff is basically what it does.
I think sticky chaff still have some, because the downside, of course, you've also the damage output's been nerfed as well to a degree. So those sticky chaff are still sticky because it's harder to kill them because your big reliable killers are less reliable. Oh no, Soul Blight are forever an issue. Oh dear.
Yes, but the thing is, it's the constant problem of hordes and Warcry. Chaff is over leveraged by the fact that they get a full activation and 2 actions, and more often the worst offenders also are the ones that have bonuses. So zombies shuffling with a bonus move, etc., means they can react. The reaction means that they can take more damage, etc., etc.
Their battle trait as well means they can absorb range attacks once per turn, which is very effective against everything.
So it becomes a stack of like bad things. But that's why that was worse, because it was just a chaff that doesn't take a round of combat to die is over leveraged. Like most mid-range will probably die if you look at it funny. And then you have a skeleton outperforming them. No, you can't have that. So like it's disproportionately.
I think there's a weird blurred line between what is chaff and what is mid-range, because chaff aren't squishy enough, I think, right? Because mid-range typically have more wounds than chaff do, but not enough more wounds to make them substantially harder to kill for the substantial increase in points you're paying for them.
Yeah.
And I think we said this on the last Wild Dice, where the issue with chaff and Warcry has been solved in so many other games in so many other ways. And Warcry is just being like, nah, man, we're just going to do none of that and live with this issue for the entire 2 editions. And it's not going to be fixed in this edition. It's a fix that won't come, I think, in any FAQ or update, because it's too systemic to actually do that.
It's a mechanical issue of the actual game rather than the points value of any individual model. Like, you can fix it by making every 50-point fighter a 64-point fighter or a 65-point fighter, but that kind of just all it does is move around where the power is in the game.
Yeah, and also I think that we've just been lucky because lethality has been high, and then that means that chaff that dies easy is not a problem. It doesn't feel bad. When we say that it is a systemic problem, we say it because we've played quite a lot of games. I don't think it is making the game unplayable, or it is something that is like completely ruined. It's just, it would be a better experience. It would be a better play style to have actual minions that are treated like minions. But that's not but the problem specifically is Soul Blight, because it has all of those layers of survivability. Most of the other ones are slightly annoying, but you can play around them. You can do things to it's not a lost game. I don't want people coming out of this thinking, I'll just play a horde. It's going to be easy. It's going to be fine. Because you're not going to have a good time unless your name is Augmented Musings. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. That said,
Soul Blight's the main issue, and Soul Blight have
yes.
always been strong. They'll continue to be strong. They are getting debated. They've been nerfed several times. Like they are getting weaker to a degree as well over time. Not in this FAQ.
I think there are two more hits
Yeah.
that they need, personally. I think they need a readjustment of their Bladeborn points. I think they're too cheap at the moment. I think they're... sorry, 3 more hits. I think their Resurrect, they need to get rid of the full wound Resurrect. I've been saying this for ages. Like, it is not reasonable to bring back to life a 10 wound zombie or a 14 wound zombie if you bless it up with the, with the blessing on a triple. Just change it into the normal Nightmare Resurrect, and that's absolutely fine, because then they come back with like 1 or 2 wounds and whatever. And then on top of that, I think maybe their battle trait, not their battle trait, their reaction needs a looking at, that just flat out reduces like damage. Because it's the same, it's the same reaction as Lizardman had with Starborn, but the difference is a skink has 6 wounds and a zombie doesn't.
No, Starborn just removes crits. Unfeeling Flesh is -1 damage.
Oh,
it's just -1 damage.
Sorry, I thought it turned 2 crits into it and hits for some reason.
It makes all like your 2 4s and your 3 5s and stuff though so much less reliable. It's so much harder to kill a 10 wound model when you've gotten 1 damage minimum or 2 damage minimum. It kills.
But anyway, so that's Divine Blessings. They did some updates on that. They also did updates, which is probably more important for everybody, because Divine Blessing, some people were or weren't using it. They did updates to the universal abilities. Now, this entire thing, this pack, is match play only, which does mean that you have a disconnect between what is printed in the book and what will happen in events in terms of the function of universal abilities and what they are and how they are. That's just something you're going to have to deal with. But considering that this change was made specifically to help balance, I would encourage people, even if you are playing casually, to use these universal abilities.
These are really good changes. These are so good for the game. It's unbelievable. The amount this will, I think, will improve how Warcry feels to play, I think, is difficult to even comprehend. It's like Counter on steroids. And Counter was great.
Counter was great. The Counter change was fantastic.
Put your hand up if you've never heard anyone complain about Rampage. Losing a game to Rampage. Oh, what's that? No hands?
Everyone
put a hand up every time someone said that, hey, Rampage like drowns out all the quads in the game because none of them are better than it. They listened.
They did. They totally did. So, like, for people who have not read it, what did they do? Onslaught, they made 3 changes. So Onslaught, our old favorite +1 attack, is now a triple. It moved from a double to a triple. So that instantly makes it mean that you're going to be pushing less damage out because triples are more rare than doubles. In return, they made Respite, the healing ability, a triple into a double, which is real interesting. So you combine Respite with the Onslaught change and the reduction, the increase in points cost on the upgrades, and suddenly you've got fighters who will stick around even longer, which is good. That's a real interesting change that I'm excited to get into. And then finally, Rampage is dead. It's been replaced with Rampage, but the new stipulation is that you can only use it if half or more fighters in your warband are taken down.
Can't be used on range. It can, but it can't be used on range attacks as effectively. You have to be within 1 inch to attack, which is huge. I think it's like a ninja change.
Yeah, you're not rampaging with wizards. It's actually Slan isn't rampaging anymore.
It's got minimum range 0, so it can. It's just much harder to do, which is great balance.
Yeah, most of the time now, in the first 2 turns, you're not going to be rampaging because that's not where you do damage in this game.
Unless things have gone really wrong for you.
Things have gone really wrong. Yeah, see, it's more like a catch-up mechanic now than anything else. Yeah. If you've taken a hammering, you get access to Rampage, which I kind of like.
Rampage is a game-winning ability, right? It has often won games on turn 1. And as a catch-up mechanic, it could absolutely flip a game on its head on turn 3. And then, oh no, the game's back on again.
I'd rather it happen in turn 3 than turn 1. How many times has a Varangard rolled his quad on turn 1, did its Rampage, zipped across the battlefield with its move, smashed your key piece, and you're just like, oh, well, there goes the game then. Especially in pre-nerf Rampage, right? Where it got the full move. But what do we think then? So, effects on the game to this. We talked about how it's going to lower the overall lethality of the game. Just that onslaught change by itself and the respite.
So the only thing that I have to hate being negative, right?
It's positive. Criticism is criticism, regardless.
Respite on a double is great because, like, people don't get to heal often enough, right? And like moving a step back and taking a breath, healing 3, 5, 6 wounds makes a big difference. I always felt like healing in Warcry was incredibly underdeveloped. I'm really happy they've done this. I really hope that it's followed up with a little buff on all of the healing abilities that are in this game that no one knows because they're garbage.
There's one good one. There's one very good one. It's the Night of Shrouds.
Yes, but that's self-heal.
incredible.
Hate that. Not because I lost a very important game once. Not at all. Not salty about that still. Don't you wave your hand. But there's a bunch of abilities across the board. One of them is on a very pretty model, the
banner.
The Stormcast with the big flag, which is heal D3 on a triple.
That's a double.
Are you sure?
Almost positive. I'll double check now though. Pretty sure it's a double though.
Still, D3 is not enough.
Yeah, but it allows you to heal another guy.
Plant the banner. It's a double. It's actually great on a 6-inch bubble. Heal D3 on a double. That's always been good. The guy's too expensive though. He's not a good enough model to take. But
yeah, I'll be quiet then.
Well, sorry, I will come out.
You're not necessarily wrong, right? Because I think on the surface level, you might go look at this and go, well, they've buffed Respite. It's sort of like a soft nerf to all the factions who can heal. Jade Obelisk have a heal. Trolls can heal. Sylvaneth have known for their heal. And this sort of makes them less special. But it doesn't, because they can do that in combat. You still can't Respite in combat. And Respite was basically a bad ability on a triple, because nearly all heals are on a double. Apart from Respite, all is Respite. And Respite was still a worse heal than all those heals. It's now still a worse heal than all those heals, but it's on a double, and everyone can do it. So I think it's a good thing overall. It increases the survivability. Fuck Nighthorn. Sorry, what they're called? Soul Blight. Whatever. They're even harder to kill. Go on the fucking bin.
Sure, but my question is, are you really going to use Respite on a zombie as opposed to using their other double that gives them the free move?
I hope not. The free move's probably better in most cases.
You're gonna be making triples, right? Because you want to res things. And then if you're lucky you get a triple and a double, you're gonna res something anyway. It's gonna be at full health. Are you really going to waste some of your action economy to disengage Respite? Really? Yeah. Maybe?
I think one of the big benefits of Respite, that my first reaction to it was, this is actually a really interesting sort of like light patch to range attacks, because there's nothing really in Warcry apart from Take Cover,
which is not
makes range attacks less devastating. And there's a whole bunch of bad range attacks, but the really good ones are still really good. That wasn't nerfed in the Blessings change or anything. They're still fantastic. Being able for anybody to heal in a pinch is ideal. Like, Respite lets you do that. It lets you sort of like try and keep your guys, probably mid-range stuff, alive when you're getting blasted by a slan, to make it a little bit more awkward for them to die, which is always good. So that was my initial thought to it. And but even with what Phylax was saying, like, attack once, take a step back, heal up, hold an objective easier. It's just good. It's more accessible. It's a good time.
We will take it. Also, you've got the changes to counter. That made it into this document, which was already in the FAQ document, but now it's nice to have everything codified in one thing that people can just download and use that. So that's pretty good.
We haven't spoken about Onslaught.
We haven't spoken about Onslaught? Yeah, well, Onslaught is now
Onslaught on a triple.
Yeah, we got to say.
The fact that, like, it was the go-to, I have a double. What am I going to do? Just extra dice, because it's incredible value.
Yeah.
Now it's on a triple. You have to think about it.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. If Rampage was is my quad as good as Rampage, Onslaught was, is my double as good as Onslaught?
Yeah. I think what you'll find now is that so many more doubles. So it was always this balance between, right, I need to kill a thing. Do I gamble to kill the thing to then gain a bonus on kill, whether that's AoE +1 attack? Is that I get to move and or attack on kill or whatever other bonus on kill could occur from that. But I'll just do Onslaught instead because that's safer, right? And Onslaught just won out. I think now you'll likely see more people pulling off these like action economy, high tempo plays because they have access to their abilities with less competition. We saw this with counter, right? Like, oh well, you change counter, so it's not as good anymore. People are now way more inclined to use their own reactions, and now, for example, Seraphon are way harder to kill because they're defaulting to Starborn. And spoiler, Starborn's always been fantastic at keeping you alive. So I think you'll start seeing people now doing things like might versus right on a Skig and True Blades, or on basic Lords of Karanak, or whatever the faction can do it, right? And you're going to see a lot more mobility on the board. You're going to see a lot more dynamic plays just from gambling, basically being what a double really should be. I think a lot of doubles are less reliable by nature, and this kind of plays into that. And also it makes things like default the big thing and Little the Tyrants really good and very unique. Because they are like the only doubles that give you +1 attacks now, and they're incredible.
Also, you can use your triple now to do what really matters, which is Inspiring Presence. Use Inspiring Presence.
Yes.
You're looking at me. Use Inspiring Presence on your next game.
Yeah,
and you'll do so much
Jeff,
better.
at home. Inspiring Presence.
But yes,
That
no,
is-
it's 100%. It just leaves space for things to breathe, and then we've not lost it. It's still there. If you really need to secure that kill, you need to get that extra die in. But yeah, it just allows warbands that are not supposed to have a lot of attack dice do what they're supposed to do, as you said, and it allows warbands that do have these reactions on +1 attack, +1 strength, like actually feel thematic and correct, and especially if it is a kind of ability that needs you to do a couple of things before it gives you that +1 attack, +1 strength. Usually people would just go, I can just get half of it. So I'm hitting them 3 anyways. So yeah. Again, it allows universal abilities always should have worse than the specifics. So this
and
just makes that correct.
And when you look at like Onslaught as a double, and you ignore Layla of Towns, you ignore the big thing, which are very powerful doubles, always have been, they still are. But with Onslaught, +1 attack in general is, especially on both attack actions, is super powerful because if you look at like, there's some quads in the game, like straight up are just getting extra attack action. That one attack action gets +1 attack. And that's, I say, quad power. And part of that is just Onslaught, right? It's like, really? Is this Onslaught?
Well,
that's a pretty powerful effect, clearly. Is a double really what it should be? Answer is no, clearly. It's not. It's triples a good place for it.
The new Helsmiths of Hashut, right? Their quad is counted as having 3 demonic power points. So their quad is in effect +1 attack, +1 strength, +1 crit, right? On their next attack action. And that's their amazing quad. Like, why would you ever use that when you can just go Onslaught for free move action, free attack action? You wouldn't. You never would. So I'm happy. I'm happy with this. I'm sorry, not Onslaught. The bracket, Rampage. That's what it's called. Rampage is dead. Doesn't exist anymore.
A cool side tangent. A cool thing with the Chaos Dwarf quad, which I think looks bad at first glance, it lasts the whole activation. So you'd actually get that buff for both their attack actions if you're in combat. Unlike regular demon points, which only last for the next attack action, this actually lasts the whole activation.
Nice.
Which is super good because that's insane value. But I think these are really good changes. Again, it brings up the survivability and brings down the killability of things. I think with the double team of -1 attack, ferocity being taken out or being nerfed, and Onslaught being nerfed, it's big things are like functioning at -2 attacks, which is great. That's always good.
Yeah. So what else is in this pack? The Divine Blessing. No, the battle traits. Even battle traits which were previously printed in Sand and Bone. No, not Sand and Bone. Briar and Bone, I think it was called. They were in that book, which you cannot buy anymore. So nice of them to reprint them. Still no battle traits yet for Order of Azir, Dark Oath, or the Black Talons.
Yeah.
Yes, the Black Talons. So I don't know. Hopefully, at some point in the future, they will update that. there were also a whole bunch of missions. We've spoken a little bit about the missions. We're not going to I've promised everybody that we're not going to bore you guys going through all of the missions individually.
And yet,
Here we
you're
are.
ready for 45 minutes of just pure nuts.
No,
That's
we're
fine.
not
We're
gonna,
not
you guys
necessarily.
can check out the missions yourself. 6 of these missions. What we can say is that 6 of these missions we have played a lot. The first 6 missions,
Yes.
a lot. And I really like them. For someone, I think they're great missions for people who haven't played them 1,000 times,
Yeah.
but we played them 1,000 times. They've made a whole bunch of quality of life changes by the looks of things to those missions, so that's great. We have 6 new missions. The only mission that I actually want to talk about is a war over nothing, which I'm going to put on the screen. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because it represents an entirely new direction of mission design for match play Warcry, and it's something that I'm actually pretty excited about. You'll see it's kind of this wild deployment map with a whole bunch of black X's. The idea is that you and your opponent take turns placing your Daggerhammer shield on the board, or if they're going to be in round 2, you choose where they're going to go, so it gives you a lot more agency in what you want to do. And then it's an objective mission. There's one always in the middle, and then you and your opponents take it in turns to place the objectives. So it's very much a sandboxy mission that you get to play it and react to what your opponent's actually bringing, as opposed to just looking at the mission. That's something that I really like.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think as well because you place objectives, you pick your deployments. You could absolutely go insane and pick both the round 2 deployments and have 2 things you will bank on round 2. Is that worth doing? I don't fucking know.
Maybe.
Sounds cool though. You can totally do it. You can also accidentally walk into that during deployment, right? It is you could completely balk it and end up in that situation by accident, where you're forced to
it's
do
like
that.
Connect 4, right? That's basically what it is.
It's a build a mission workshop. It's great.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. I think this is an interesting design space to be in. It's more or less removes like the pressure of Daggerhammer Shield. It does still have some relevance, but it's so open, and it's a design space I would like to see explored more as more missions come out. I think it's a really fun place to be.
I think it's perfectly in the middle. And I'll tell you why. You can put it as a first mission on the pack and have people sit there and do all of the probabilities in their minds of, oh, if I put these here, then they'll put these here and yada yada yada. And then you sit and, oh, if I deploy there and that, this and that and the other. You can sit and analyze that for years. And then you can put it as a mission 4 and everyone goes, it's just those the objectives, goes, but I'll deploy round 2 because then I don't have to think. I can only activate 3 models. Good luck playing all of your models. You know, it's I think it's cool. I think it's a mission where if you play it 100 times, you might have different games. Depends on who you play it with. If you play it with people who have sat down and calculated all of it and they're putting their objectives always at the same point so that they can win, that's
people will do this. This will be fully mathed out by the time this video goes live by about 5 people, and there will be the ideal lanes to play this mission, and it'll.
And listen, I'm not yucking their yum. That's great, good for them. But at the same time, you can't do that because your opponent might put an objective somewhere where
your
it's going to block
opponent picks
you.
those 2 round 2 deployments, and you're like, oh
no.
Oh, a deployment is a chimera.
I genuinely don't see how that would be a problem because you just get free round 1 points.
You would cap, sure, you would, but I think it's one of those weird situations where you can place objectives in such a way that round 2 deployment might be a really big boon for you if you bring the right fights.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
And the faster your warband is, the faster and squishier your warband is, the more appealing being off the board on turn 1 actually might be. And for elite warband, as an example, in Tabletop Scotland, I was against a 5-man ruination list, and it dawned on him that he had on our game, his only drop on turn 1 was a 1-man drop. I jumped on that guy and beat him to death turn 1 immediately. It was ruination though. He could have actually put that into teleport reserve and had nothing on the board turn 1, and that was the best play, but he didn't see it. that same idea could work here by having just as few models as possible on the board turn one could be the play against somebody with like a very specific matchup into you. So you never know. It's an option. It's a fun option. Try it out.
So
Experiment.
that's exactly the thing. Customizability, interactability, big things. And this mission has a lot of replayability. So you could just play it again and again and again.
My only issue is that it's just an objective mission. There is zero kill component anywhere.
Yeah.
Which is a bit
Yeah.
I like a bit of a mix, personally.
Yeah. There are 5 objectives, right? So you could just sit there and do nothing for 3 turns. Yeah, that's always a risk in flag objective mission games. But at least it's not 4.
True. But yes, no, good mission.
Yeah, I'm excited to play a bunch of this. And that's it, right? So we've got the 12 missions, we've got the battle traits, we've got the new universal abilities, we've got the new divine blessings. So what are our thoughts? So Demetrius, one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on here is because you run the events, right?
And because I'm very handsome as well.
And because you're very handsome. And
I straightened this beard for this.
You steamed it, put some starch on it.
Yeah.
And I've been calling for a match play battle pack forever. Toast, you've been talking about kind of the same things.
Yeah.
So this is it. What does this mean for match play Warcry as a whole? Because I notice there's a line here, and the line that I jumped on was this events and tournaments thing. And I don't do Man Read's book, but I'm going to read this. These battle plans can be used at official match play events for Warcry around the globe, whether they're run by Games Workshop or by independent tournament organizers.
That's really, yes.
Exactly.
So I think there's a few people that have signed up for that. And I would say if you do Warcry tournament, sign up for it. It's really good. I say it's really good. It feels really good. It doesn't really give you much of anything except the prestige of going around and being like, I'm an approved tournament organizer. Actually, means nothing. There's no difference to like my tournaments because I'm an approved tournament organizer. No, for other stuff, for KOS and all of that,
that's not necessarily true.
What do you mean?
Because you're on the approved tournament organizer list, you get to do things like go into the meetings with the OP team.
Secret spy meetings, yes.
You know?
Sorry, you're right. There is some recognition.
What it does, I'll tell you what it does, is it gives Games Workshop a signal, and it says there are people who are doing tournaments for this game. That's the main.
Exactly. And now that they know Mortality exists, they can see the tournaments as well. But no, that line is really heartening to see. And I think this entire battle pack means that there's things that they want to do in the space. Obviously, we've not had a Warhammer World Tournament in a while. And that at this point, I'm starting to think that might be our fault, because this year we had a ton of tournaments, and it wasn't just me. There's tournaments in November, there's tournaments in December, there's been tournaments all year. I've been able to do episodes of the live stream relatively regularly, covering all of the tournaments all over the world. And especially in the UK, I don't think anyone's been going. There's people that are barely going 2 weeks without being to a tournament. Toast.
Yep. Yeah. I had quite the summer.
Yeah. So this is the best way and the easiest way, I think, that they have to actually just tip the hat a little bit without being too funny about it. But yeah, no, it's good missions. It means that we have a solid base in the missions that we've played before. They've adjusted them and made them better. And then we have 6 new missions, and a lot of them are showing things, as you said, like the deployments. That is a whole new thing. We have Blood on the Forest Floor, which has areas, just the entire board split in 2. And there's little bits, there's nothing groundbreaking that I saw, but it is fun twists on the missions, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to make our wonderful community mission designers go and think about missions in a slightly different way. And it just kind of opens new doors. And it also means that between 12 missions, it makes it easier on people to go and put together a pack that's going to be interesting. and that's going to be fun. And places like the Nottingham Warcry Club, they want to do quarterly tournaments, right? They couldn't do that with a pack of 6, but they can do that with a pack of 12. They can move things around. I would add to this because there's a lot of really cool missions out there. But the fact that GW comes in after however many months and goes, hey, here's some more. Keep doing what you're doing, is just excellent, I think.
No, it's wonderful. It's just great. It's more content, right? It's more content for the game. It's more content geared specifically towards the match play competitive side. And as we know from Warcry was never built for competitive play. It was built entirely for narrative with match play as a side bit. They're pushing more competitive play, which we know anyway from past conversations, secret meetings and stuff. And we also know from this document. And as a completely side personal note to how Games Workshop do missions, I love how Games Workshop do kill missions because they have the punishment for killing heroes, allies, and monsters, which you do not see basically anywhere else. And it's a nice little way to poke at ally spam soup lists in the best way, which is punish them for having them on too many or spamming out cheap ones to get more activations and whatnot. Kill them, get a fuck ton of points. It adds an extra layer of sauce to kill missions that you don't see very often outside of
But so
these
sworn.
ones.
My
Yeah.
poor soul sworn.
Questor get disproportionately poked up the ass because they're all heroes and they all die horribly. But Questor have other issues that need resolving at some point in their existence because
yeah,
they're so much
let's
fun.
open
But
that
they're
conversation.
so mid.
We don't have enough time for this. Yeah, no, so it's, yes, no, you're 100% correct with that.
Overall, though, we're happy.
Yes.
Happy this has been released. It was wholly unexpected from Games Workshop. So I'm just very happy that they are continuing to think about Warcry in a serious way instead of just throwing out breadcrumbs. Because this is
Yes.
Wait, what do you...
content.
I mean, this is obviously bad. Like, they're pushing this into a match play direction so that they can kill the game because we all know that competitive players
all you filthy casuals.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Not even for a joke. No, this is excellent. This is a tip of the hat to all the work that people like us have been putting in, tournament organizers all over the UK and all over the world, and you, the viewer, for going to tournaments and supporting us and coming along and playing and having a good time and bringing your wonderfully painted miniatures and just supporting this community and being part of it. Thanks.
100%. So that's it from us for today. Thank you again, everybody, very much for watching. Thank you very much to Wargames on Toast. Where can we find you?
You can find me at YouTube at Wargames on Toast. I talk about Warcry a lot. And Malifaux.
It's so funny because you can tell that we usually record these at his channel because he doesn't know. I did be like, that's my channel. Yeah.
Also, a big thank you to Demetrios.
You can find me Worldcry UK anywhere, worldcry.uk for the website. That's where I keep a detailed timeline of all events in the UK. I have all the links, all the battle packs, how to get them, how to get your tickets, all of the events that come from me and from tournament organizers that I know and I can vouch for. They all go up there.
Where can we find you off Meta Musings?
Where do we find me? You find me exactly where you are, unless you're finding this collaborations as a thing now. So unless you're finding me on Wargames on Toast or on Warcry UK, you're going to come here. I'm everywhere, my feelers.